Hello, everybody. This is episode 2 of Outdoors with Advanced Primate. AdvancedPrimate.com is an outdoor retailer that specializes in backpacking, hiking, camping, and now we're going to talk about climbing. And this is going to serve as a guide. We will write a guide from this, and also we'll upload this video to YouTube so that you can watch it if you don't like to read and you just like pictures like me. So I'm Tim Schiffer, the founder. This is Cody Scarpella. Cody is a presently sponsored climber.
Yeah.
Cody's been climbing for a long time, and I won't say how long. He can say it better than I can. But what we're going to talk about today is his experience climbing, and then give some ideas and tips and tricks for how you can maybe try climbing or get into the sport if you're interested and maybe don't know where to start. That can be pretty intimidating, so we want to help people overcome those kinds of things. So, Cody, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you live?
Yeah,
what do
quick
you do?
introduction.
Yeah.
I live in Golden, Colorado, on the Front Range. I'm a carpenter part-time and climber full-time, and I've been climbing for 16 years.
Wow.
So I originally started climbing at Smith Rock in Central Oregon, but been all over the world at this point in time, climbing in the Himalayas and anywhere I can catch a flight to, basically.
That's
at this
awesome.
point.
What's your favorite?
Chasing the best rock.
What's your favorite place that you climbed?
Everybody asks that question.
Well, now you can just point them to the video.
Yeah, exactly. Squamish in British Columbia, Canada.
Okay.
It's got to be among the best places to climb in the world.
Awesome.
The atmosphere, the accessibility, the quality of the rock, everything. Proximity to good seafood.
Oh, there you go.
It's really good.
Seafood
Yeah.
eaters. So for you, I want to go a little bit deeper on that specific thing right there. What is it? It's probably a combination of things, but like, what's your absolute favorite thing about climbing? So when you go somewhere and you're like, man, this place ranks, what's the one thing that is the most important?
Like anything we choose to do in our free time, the release of it, right? The freedom, just like any sport out there, any individual sport out there, there's different types of climbing, right?
Yeah.
So you got to find climbing that fits your bill. And for me, it's the solitude, it's the adventure, it's whatever is required for me to forget about whatever project I have going in my shop at home and the rest of the world.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it's a release.
It's a release.
It's you against the earth, right, or nature. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's you against you, really. It's you against your head, right? Like, I think most climbers, they don't. I mean, some climbers maybe, but most climbers don't think about doing battle with the rock. They don't think about.
Yeah.
Like,
You're not against it.
It's like me versus the rock. It's like
Fair
me.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you said you've been climbing for 16 years. Real quick, you do carpentry, and I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's really nice, high quality stuff, and you
Thank
do
you.
lots of things for lots of people that appreciate a certain level of craftsmanship. What's the name of your company?
It's just my last name, Scarpella Fine Carpentry.
Okay. Is there a website?
Nothing real
Or do they
creative.
have to find you on Google?
You gotta find me on Google right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Scarpella Fine Carpentry. He's in Colorado. There's probably not more than one there.
There's
Named
not.
Scarpella.
There's not more than one.
Yeah. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to us at Advanced Primate, support at AdvancedPrimate.com, or comment on this video on YouTube. Happy to get you connected with Cody if you're looking for some nice woodwork carpentry, finished carpentry, tables, cabinets, all sorts of things. So you've been climbing for 16 years. You and I go back quite a ways. I wasn't really in a big part of your life when you made the choice to go climbing. Like
It's true.
I would live somewhere else, we weren't in the same state. So what was it that like drew you to the sport? Maybe you've already kind of described what you love about it, but like, why'd you start?
Yeah. To be totally honest, was young and I had a dog, and I wanted an excuse to get outside with my dog that was more than just going to the park. And it just took off from there. Like I used to, for the first several years, I always joked that my dog was my best climbing partner.
Dogs are great,
Yeah,
man. I
totally.
think I have long held that I love people, but dogs are better than people.
They can be.
There's no ulterior
But you know,
motive.
to build on that, it was like it wasn't what hooked me, right?
It was to spend
Initially-
time with your dog is why you picked it.
Like from
And
the
there's no
very
right or wrong
beginning.
answer.
From the very beginning, that's why I got out there. But what hooked me was the community, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it wasn't long before people were inviting me into the community, and you know, seeing that I was out there by myself on my dog, with my dog, and it's I mean, anybody who climbs, anybody who knows anything about the climbing community will tell you that it's such a tight knit community that's one of the largest draws.
Okay.
You can I'll go to southern Utah every year and see people that I met in northern Norway.
Oh wow.
You know, and it happens all over the world in the climbing community.
So there's a circuit, so to speak, or places
There
that
is,
are frequented by
that
the.
everybody wants to go to.
That's cool. So I think that's a great point about how tight the community is. I think one of the challenges for people that are new to any sport, really, but when you're doing something outdoors, whether it's backpacking or climbing or fly fishing, I think there's a perceived barrier to entry in that you see these people in these communities and they appear to be really close together, and you're like, maybe that's intimidating. So when you were welcomed in and you feel that it was really welcoming, and that's something that you experienced early on and it brought you into the sport even more, you just went out and started climbing. Where did you climb, and how did you get found? Like if you're a new person and you're like, I don't know if I'll fit in, the answer is probably they will, as long as they're not.
You will.
Yeah, you will. It's you just go out and you find like a basic spot, or you go to a climbing gym, or what do you do?
Yeah, I think the more common path today, as opposed to 16 years ago, is to start in a climbing gym.
Yeah.
And there's, like anywhere, especially in cities, you can find community groups and you can find meetups. Most gyms have sign-ups, right? Right now during COVID, it's a little more tough, but you can literally, especially if you live on the western half of the United States, I can almost guarantee you can find some place within an hour of where you live that you can get outside and boulder by yourself. Yeah. Bouldering is one of the more accessible solo or for just a few friends to go find their introduction into climbing.
Cool
thing to do. All you need is shoes and pad.
There you go. So what are the first things you need if you want to try climbing? Is that what you would say? Shoes
yeah.
and a pad?
Yeah. I mean, if you're more attracted to climbing higher and you're into,
you're a daredevil and you just want to go right to the top of
totally. It depends on what's bringing you to climbing, but yeah. So I mean, climbing shoes, maybe a harness and a crash pad.
And those are your climbing shoes right there.
These are climbing shoes. These are pretty aggressive, uncomfortable climbing shoes.
They look like they very much will hold some of the posture for you.
They're like ballet slippers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
they're pretty.
I for what I need them for, I find them really comfortable. But if you put them on right now,
with zero introduction,
your feet into you can. There's everything from.
So an intro climbing shoe is more like a shoe.
More like a shoe, more like a ballet slipper.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I think again, there's like if you're able to go to a gym, you're going to be able to rent any number of different shoes from that gym.
Cool.
There's all kinds of programs going on at gyms, at your local crags, is what we call them.
Is that just your local spots to go climb?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And companies will actually put together these kind of demo days
at
the crags. They want you to try the shoes, right?
Cool. So they'll go to the popular sites
Yeah.
and then just show up and say, "Hey, try these out."
Exactly.
Oh, that's cool. So, what's it like, being sponsored, or how long? Before we go there, how long did you climb before you got sponsored? And were you looking for sponsors? Or is there just like, is that something that an aspiring climber can go, not only do I want to start climbing, but I want to get really good at it, and then maybe be sponsored? Like, how did that path unfold?
Naturally, I wasn't looking for it. I mean, I was so focused that, I was becoming the best possible climber I could be at the cost of, all other things in my life. Yeah, exactly. But
it's called passion, I think.
Yeah, it's not something I was looking for. I would say I moved from Central Oregon after 7 or 8 years of climbing. Moved to Colorado, where climbing's a little more popular, and there's a lot more climbing industry around Boulder and Denver. And it just happened. It just naturally kind of happened. I was sort of pushing myself at the forefront of certain styles of climbing, and it was noticed. And I can't say that I didn't want it.
Sure. Because being sponsored afforded you the opportunity to travel around the world.
It's support, right? In whatever way it comes, it's support. You realize that whether it's families giving you money or companies giving you money and gear and whatever else, it's support.
Yeah. So let's go back and talk a little bit more about the intimidation factor that newcomers to any sort of tight knit sporting community. It's just it's a perception. It's not a reality, right? But when you're outside and it's the same thing when you got to make new friends and you move schools when you're a kid. You're like, I don't know anybody, But you just gotta you gotta be a little adventurous to do something adventurous. So we'll just put that out there.
Yeah.
But talk to that a little bit.
Yeah, I think, like you said, you have to want to get outside and go rock climbing or get into the gym if that's what you want to do. Go rock climbing, go gym climbing. But going back to what we were talking about before, there's a lot more opportunity today than there was 16 years ago to find groups of people looking for newcomers to join them. There's like, every climber who spent some time in the climbing world gets to a point where they want that mentee, right?
They're looking
there's a mentorship, mentee relationship in climbing.
Cool.
And traditionally, that's how we all learned. We found a mentee.
Yeah, somebody that had been doing it longer than you, right?
Yeah. So I think, even though there is that intimidation, I think that people need to know that there's a strong will of the climbing community to bring new people in.
That's cool.
To bring youth in and to have those young eyes, because that's how you find adventure today.
Yeah.
It's new lives.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think the big thing is understanding that it is just perception, like you said.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
You just gotta sack up.
There's so much information out there, and there's so many opportunities. Go and find the American Alpine Club and the Access Fund, and find groups and events through those kind of companies.
So American Alpine Fund's probably got a .com at the end of it if you go on the internet.
Yep, absolutely. Google it and it'll take you right there. There's clinics that they put on all over the country called Cragging Classics.
Okay.
The American Alpine Club Cragging Classics, and no matter where you live in this country.
So here in Boise, there's one.
Yeah, maybe not in Boise, but
sure.
They probably will be doing one in City of Rocks at some point, which is just a couple hours outside of town.
Yeah.
I think they do maybe a dozen all over the country every year, and they're basically traveling outdoor retailer with a nod toward crag conservation, trail building, and all kinds of clinics. They bring in guides and pros like myself to do clinics and to teach new climbers different things about gear and different technique and new slideshows. Stuff like it's incredible how much is available.
So you can Google it. You can go on Facebook, probably a bunch of groups.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, if there's something to climb, there's probably people that have organized it, they're climbing it, and you can find them.
100%.
Yeah, there's a jumping spider right there. He keeps jumping and then climbing back up, so I think he's our official mascot. So that's cool. That's like how you get started. So there's got to be like a fitness to it. You got to be in a certain shape. Like I know you get probably some kung fu grip after a while from clinging to walls.
Yeah.
I mean, can anybody just get up off the couch after 10 years of not moving and do this? Or I mean, do you?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think that part of the attraction is that it's athletic, it's fitness, right? You can use something like climbing to better your life with a step towards fitness. Right?
Cool.
So there's that for anybody who doesn't climb.
Yeah.
But I also think that we talked earlier about different styles of climbing. Anybody who's ever been a little bit interested in climbing has seen videos of Chris Sharma.
Yeah.
The dude is yoked and he's just like, his feet are never
poster child.
Yeah, his feet are never on the wall. He's he's like
hanging by his hand.
The kids on the monkey bars, just swinging all over the place. Right?
Yeah.
And climbing the hardest stuff in the world.
Yeah.
And there is that style of climbing, and that can be really fun. But you need an optimal amount of fitness for that style.
Sure.
There's other styles that are more about balance, and all body types can excel at some type of climbing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All the way down to just scaling peaks, wanting to get up high, find the outdoors.
So would you say it's similar to, I've climbed some of the sandy red rocks that are in the middle of Phoenix all over the place.
Yeah.
And those are kind of dangerous because they're covered with a fine layer of dust, and you kind of have to crab walk back down.
Yeah.
People get stuck on them all the time. But as far as like, I forgot where I was going to go with that, but as far as like an important thing to know, like what's the number one rule of, don't do this when you're climbing, or that isn't actually where I was going to go with that. Let's finish that.
Sure. Yeah. Don't do this.
What top 5 things? A couple of rules of thumb
Yeah.
you could use. It's coming after you.
Let's go like all the way to rope climbing.
Okay.
Your belayer is really important part of the equation, right? So as a belayer, especially new belayer and a new climber, your belayer is probably more important.
What's a belayer?
Climber. The belayer is the person on the ground connected to the other end of your rope, right?
Okay.
So
if there's a pulley system, it's the person holding it.
Modern climbing, falling is common. You fall all the time, right? You're not trying hard enough if you're not falling.
Okay.
Right? So you're falling all the time.
Yeah.
And that modern ropes and gear allow us to do that, but you still have typically a system with 2 people, a climber and a belayer.
Okay.
So the big thing is learn how to belay. Like it can be really easy with a friend that's looking to get into climbing.
So 2 people that are
brand new climbers.
Yeah.
You can go to the gym, and the gym is going to require you to pass a belay test. They're going to require you to be fit, have enough knowledge to properly belay and stay safe to be able to climb in their gym.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
They can teach you that, and you can go through it that way.
That's a good rule.
Or your mentor will teach you that.
Sure.
So if you want, like maybe one of the number one things in climbing is don't fuck up as a player.
That's it. That's
like,
your wingman, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or woman.
Like don't, you got to be on point as a belayer.
Okay.
And it seems really simple.
But it can be catastrophic, I would imagine.
It can be catastrophic, and it's pretty,
Maybe
it's pretty easy to be a good belayer, but it doesn't take much to be a bad belayer.
So does your, I'm going to go back to what I was going to try and answer or ask earlier. Does like your love for the sport or your enjoyment that you get from it, does it come from, conquering the challenge that is whatever you're trying to climb? So if you, when you get to the top, put your hands in the air like Rocky or whatever. Because that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
If you don't make it, or if something beats you, has that ever happened?
Yeah.
Has there ever been something you tried to climb and you're just like, you know what, not for me,
course.
can't do it. I'm good with this.
Yeah,
It's not my style.
It won't let me do it.
Yeah.
You know, my body won't let me do it.
Sure.
Absolutely. You know, after 16 years, and you know, not getting any younger, I feel
Right.
I'm less concerned with the accomplishments.
Yeah.
I still make those goals and go after them. But,
Yeah.
you know, like the old adage, you know, the process is the power. Like
Okay. You gotta enjoy the process.
You have to.
Yeah.
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 It's hard. You know.
Yeah.
Climbing's not easy.
Yeah. So if you don't like it, you're not gonna keep doing it.
Exactly.
Like anything else, really. Or you're just wasting your time.
Yeah.
So what else? What else would you say? I guess what are you doing? Let's talk about these. What are these here on the ground?
Yeah.
There's two of them, right?
Yeah, just like anything you get into these days, there's just gobs and gobs of gear, and you can
Buy as much as you want.
You can buy as much as you want, or buy as little as you need, and you know, you can go the distance.
Shoes and a mat, bare minimum.
We talked about you need climbing shoes, right? Like you don't.
Those are straight.
Most people need climbing shoes.
Yeah.
A mat, a bouldering pad, will let you go out by yourself
Yeah.
tomorrow, right?
Yeah. What are you looking at to get into it? $100 for both those? $200?
Yeah, $200 to $300
Okay.
at the baseline. Intro pair of shoes is probably going to be $100 to $150.
Okay.
And a basic bouldering pad is probably going to be right in that price range too.
Okay.
You know, that's like the baseline, so it's not cheap,
Yeah.
but
I'm sure it goes a lot higher.
it goes a lot higher. Yeah.
Most
shoes are closer to $200. Most crash pads are closer to $300 or $400.
Sure. And if you do that, you're getting a softer landing.
A larger pad,
Yeah.
more quality fabrics that are going to hold up
Last longer.
because you are stepping on them and
Yeah.
dragging around in the dirt.
Sure. They need to be rugged.
They need to be rugged.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But as you get into it, you're gonna want a harness. You're gonna want a rope,
Yeah.
and you're gonna want all the clippy things that come with it, right?
Sure. So let's talk a little bit about them.
Yeah. So this is kind of your basic sport climbing rack. You know, quick draws.
Yep.
They're gonna clip into pre-placed gear in the wall, bolts that have been drilled into the wall, right? One end goes into the bolt on the wall, one end you clip your rope into as you go up. You need a belay device, whether that be like an ATC type classic belay device or like a gree. This is kind of a common all-around belay device.
Okay.
So that'll get you sport climbing. That, a harness, and a rope, and a partner, right?
And sport, what's the sport term entail?
Sport climbing just means that you're clipping pre-placed gear on the wall.
Okay.
It's,
so you're not out carving your own path.
You're not carving your own path. You know, you're counting on the hardware in the wall that somebody else, or maybe you placed it, but somebody else has placed before you got there.
Sure.
Being solid, and it usually is really solid.
Yeah.
Steel bolts in the wall. Right? And that's gonna typically sport climbers are out there, you know, climbing higher difficulties and more focused on the most technically hard pieces of rock you can find.
Okay. Cool.
As you find yourself wanting to break away further from the crowds and get in the mountains and, like you said, carve your own path, climb different features, you're gonna start using different modern gear that you can put in a crack.
So what kind of setup is this?
So this is what you call a trad rack, a traditional climbing rack, right? Because long before there was sport climbing, people were climbing with the trad rack. These didn't come around until years later, camming devices. But something like...
That's pretty cool. You just shove that in the crack and then expand it?
Yep, exactly. Like stoppers, slider nuts. These type of things have been what climbers have used from the beginning of climbing to protect protect their falls, right?
That's
And
crazy.
these just wedge into little cracks, and then you flip
Seems
your
a
own
lot
back.
less secure than the cams there.
Yeah, I mean, it's you learn to trust it, and they can be just as, if not more secure in certain situations. Yeah.
Cool.
That's why they're still on modern trad racks, right?
Cool.
Yeah. And you,
So that plus some rope and some shoes,
some rope, some shoes,
some chalk,
a chalk bag, some chalk.
a wag bag. You need a wag bag?
Yeah. I
What's
mean,
a wag bag?
That's up to you. How regular are you?
I know what it is.
Yeah.
Is that? I mean, what happens if you have to go to the bathroom and you're like hanging on a mountain?
I've done clinics.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is there a whole clinic?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of more for fun, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Let's just touch on it, shall we?
Yep. Let's touch on it.
What do you do? Let's talk about Pete. Seems a little easier.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, P, we're a little less worried about,
Falling boulders.
spreading it around.
Oh yeah.
Leaving
Leave
it
no
behind,
trace. Yeah.
That's the beauty of a wag bag. I know you got to carry your crap around, but
Yeah.
climbing and being outside is more and more popular, and there's more and more people doing it. So it is important to not leave our feces all over the crags and all over the trails, and anywhere your dog's gonna dig it up
Or some other animal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's just a bag.
It's just a bag.
It's like a bag that you walk your dog with. Same thing.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Usually a wag bag's gonna have a little bit of toilet paper in there for you. It's actually gonna have like some silica sand in it that reacts with what's going on in there and keeps the smell down. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can seal it up, and it's a little more manageable to carry.
Sure.
Right.
I can understand how that would be.
Yep.
Preferable. To just
So that
invest in
the wag bag is the way, and then if you've ever spent time on river trips, when you're up on big walls, you're gonna carry something similar to what people carry on rafts or on river trips. Just whether it's what we call a haul bag, a small haul bag to put those wag bags from whenever you do your thing in there, or a tube, a hard tube, right? But that's in a scenario where you're going to be sleeping on the wall and hauling lots of gear up with you.
Have you slept on the wall?
Yeah.
Is that cool or is it weird or what's that?
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, can you fall out?
You could, I suppose, but it's pretty,
Yeah. It takes a while to bed to another level, though.
Yeah.
Sure. Huh. Cool. What else should we talk about? I feel like we probably got a fair amount of content.
Yeah, I think we just need to.
Let's wrap it up. Or you want to talk about something else?
Yeah, no.
I mean, just bring it back to some close.
I'm just thinking about. I'm trying to imagine what you're looking for.
I'm not. I didn't come with a script.
Okay.
I prefer a conversational style, and then when I go back to it and watch it, there's a structure to it. I mean, we had a focus of, introducing people to climbing and a little bit about your history and what do you got to do if you want to start into it.
What about like what was your biggest learning moment climbing? I don't know. And what's the you could talk about type 1, 2, and 3 fun or whatever. What's
sure the whole you gotta want to do it, but half the time you don't want to do it anyway. You just push through. But I don't know.
What are maybe the different
really
lessons that you learn through the different stages of climbing? As a beginner, what's the first thing you learn?
That is a good one.
As you get more developed.
So that was
another big lesson, milestone that you learn.
I'm a hard case for that kind of stuff.
Been doing it so damn long, you don't remember.
I kind of
I'm just wondering if you also talk about maybe that's too much, but
how many people do you know who have died? Just kidding.
No,
don't. People.
I was thinking what's your biggest lesson that you've learned, or how to learn.
That's what I was like. What's the number one
Yeah.
Or
you said.
What does climbing teach you about the rest of your life too? Maybe I don't know. It could even be
that's
why
a good way.
That's huge. Yeah.
That's a good way to I think bring it back to we're way out and climbing and we're talking about racks and
we're talking.
Let's bring it back to life, right? So okay.
Maybe that's a good question to say.
Jenny.
Yeah, I was thinking that you can
Nice
be
Jenny.
the reason why I climb and still climb is because it also drives other parts of my life.
Tell me
What?
what. Just kidding.
Something to encourage people, like, yeah, like I want to get into climbing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that sounds
Yeah.
like
Okay.
super inspiring.
Okay, let's inspire people and then leave it, and then we'll just close it out.
Okay.
So here we go. Ready? So so let's bring it back to like your regular life. So you're a carpenter. Do you have a dog? No.
I don't have a dog now.
Me neither. Yeah. We're both dogless right now. It's cool. It's a temporary condition.
I think so. Yeah.
So you're living life as a carpenter. You're climbing. Are you sponsored today? Is that still a thing?
I'm still sponsored.
And you're doing
Still
classes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's next? Like what's the next chapter? You've been doing this for 16 years. I would imagine you've accomplished everything you want to accomplish, or is that false?
Yeah.
What's next? Where are you at, and what's next?
Yeah. More dreaming, right? I think.
How do you keep the fire?
That's a good question. I think you keep the fire by continuing to stoke the fire, right? And that's getting out there, and that's finding what you're passionate about. For me, that's a particular type of climbing. That's a particular type of adventure, and then like we were talking about before is seeing that in younger climbers or new climbers, seeing that fire be lit for the first time, or really be stoked for the first time. I don't know how to take that to what we were talking about though.
It just what is it what's next? You like teaching people. You like seeing new people learn. And that light bulb turn on or whatever. That fire gets stoked. But
I think for me, I started climbing at a time when everybody when they're 19 or 20 years old is looking for
what they're gonna do,
looking for direction. And climbing, I didn't start climbing thinking that it was my direction. I didn't start climbing thinking that that's what I was going to do.
That's what I'm going to do with my life.
And it was really fun, and I found a family in it, and it continued to fuel my fire. And it's taken me years to realize that it added, in an interesting way, a lot of structure to my life. It's actually taught me how to be a focused person. Taught me how to, attain goals and stay focused on goals, and cherish moments in far off lands, and dream about climbing in the Himalayas or climbing in southern Patagonia, or it's kind of made me realize that like your mom told you growing up, you can be anything you want to be. It's kind of hard to be anything you want to be.
Sure. Like I can't probably ever be a dragon.
You will probably never be. Halloween soon. You can be a dragon. You can be a dragon.
I can try.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's have fun. That's not true. I can be a dragon. I'm just not trying to convince other people that I'm a dragon.
That you're a dragon.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So.
But I think you can. What climbing has taught me is I can experience what I want to experience, and I can go just about anywhere I want to go in this world, and find adventure.
Cool.
Stoke my fire.
So that's awesome. So you like to teach new people? I mean, if somebody's new and they live in your neck of the woods in Colorado, I mean, are you teaching people or?
I am, yeah. Again, I'm attracted to. I like to climb all types of climbing, but I excel and I'm very attracted to getting in the mountains and trad climbing, and so I'm attracted to and new climbers that want to climb in the mountains and want to trad climb.
Yeah, which is traditional.
Are going to be drawn to me as a mentor, right? So, I'm willing to teach anybody.
Sure.
If nothing else, how to have fun climbing. Right?
Yeah.
But I really enjoy taking people out in the mountains.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I think that's good, man. I think we got good.
Cool.
That's awesome. So I think that's where we're going to leave this for today. I think it would be cool to have Cody back or to meet Cody in the future on his in his happy place. So if we're lucky, maybe we can make that happen. But for now, Cody, I really appreciate you sitting down and talking with us. And I think this is going to be really helpful for maybe people that are thinking about climbing and don't know, where to turn for like a trusted person that can tell you. You can Google things, right? But you need somebody that you kind of can trust. And as far as somebody who's been doing it and somebody that's got the trust of brands and has been around the world doing it, I think this is really helpful for those kinds of people. And I really appreciate you taking time out to.
I appreciate you having me.
Cool. Well, that's it for this one, everybody. Thanks for checking us out. Tim Schiffer, AdvancedPrimate.com. We're here to help you find something you love to do in the outdoors. And Cody Scarpella, veteran climber, been around the world, here to share his love of climbing. Thanks again, Cody.
Thank you. We'll see you at the crag.